Unai, was that the response you were looking for after the disappointment of the emotion of going out of the Champions League? Despite beating PSG, you wanted the same level, didn't you, of performance and the same standard of noise?
Definitely. We were focusing this match like something very, very important, because they are our opponent now to be in Europe and to fight for Champions League position. And completely happy how we respond. Really, the players, they are focusing like my messages in the dressing room, and every day. Now we can't waste time. Now we are in our best moment. Today was the match we played with every player available. I decided 3 players out of the squad, because we could only 20 players to be for this match, and 3 they were out. And I don't want to take this decision, but it's necessary sometimes to have every player ready, available, to get this level we achieved. Because we played 90 minutes, really, wow. The rhythm, the game plan we did, focusing and playing completely with the good spirit and good skills and good physical work. 90 minutes getting.
Ollie Watkins, after 33 seconds, I bet you couldn't have wished for a better start for him. And on another day, he could have had a couple of more goals as well.
Yes, he played fantastic. And last week, he helped us as well. 30 minutes in Southampton, scoring, penalty. On Tuesday, he played as well 20 minutes, and he didn't get some chances like today to try to help us. But today, he played fantastic. His commitment always is high commitment to try to get his best. And this is the competitive way I want, and we need to be in the level we show with today.
How hard is it when you go about selecting your team for matches? Because he's told us tonight that he's the type of player that reacts and wants to talk to you if he's not involved or has a position in the starting 11 of your teams.
Difficult, because yesterday when I decided the players in the squad, I needed time. I needed to take time to decide about it. And today, this morning, I was speaking with some players how they are feeling, and as well trying to set our starting 11 as better as possible in my decision about how they were feeling, the players, and as well how we were with our game plan responding against Newcastle. And of course, always I am preparing each game, trying to play 90 minutes with the players in the starting 11 and the players in the bench. And this is the last match, more or less how they are responding, the players, in the way we are trying to build and to create for the next weeks in this season. And really it's our key moment to try to get our best.
And I bet you couldn't have asked for much more of your substitutions that you made, because the players you brought on made an instant impact as well.
Yes, very good impact, and of course, just 58. And of course, after with the national team, and to perform, being consistent all the season is necessary to try to be in the commitment we are trying to get in our standards every day, and as well accepting and respecting every decision we are taking, and the minute they are playing, trying to get their best.
So, one opponent down that you're competing with for Champions League football next season. You've got another one coming on Tuesday night, and they're just as difficult, aren't they, with Manchester City?
Yes, Manchester City, of course, they are performing fantastic the last matches. Today they won as well. They are not being consistent like they were before, because they were contender to win again the trophy in Premier League. But of course they are still being contender to be in the top 5. We are behind them 1 or 2 points, I don't know exactly. But we are going to face them on Tuesday. It's again our challenge. And after we won today, of course, we are feeling strong and feeling as well comfortable, feeling confidence. But that is going to be very difficult. But this is the challenge we want, and to play against the better team. We played against PSG in Champions League, yes, but we are playing today against Newcastle, on Tuesday against Manchester City, and they are teams in this level. And of course, how we are responding in this level is my really challenges to get it and to be close of those teams.
Recover well. I'll see you on Tuesday.
Thank you.
When you have some kind of adversity, and when maybe the manager leaves you out, and in one of the biggest games of your life. Let's be totally honest, quarter-final of a Champions League, he gets left out in those 2 games. He has shown an incredible attitude today and come out firing. That's not always the case. And he said it himself, and after a game, sometimes you probably talk more than you want, and he might reflect, I'll be really open there. But it was great for us, and it's great for everybody at home. But that's an insight into the ups and downs of being a footballer, because you asked me before the game, has he got something to prove? He has nothing to prove. He's a top player. He's scored so many goals for Aston Villa. But what you have to do when you get your opportunity, you have to show. You have to turn up, show up, play like you mean it. And he did that from minute 1. And as Matt rightly says, that's perfect for the manager, because you've got everybody firing, subs coming on wanting to make a difference. Because I see it week in, week out with some players, they get left out, they sulk, they don't want to get warmed up, don't want to play. He showed exactly the right attitude, and that's why he is a top performer. And they are very lucky to have somebody like that at their club, because not everybody would sort of carry that sort of authority when they talk, and that experience that he's got. And he's turned what was a massive negative in his life into a positive. And I think that's a real example to any footballers.
Absolutely, and he's going to have everyone talking about him again tomorrow. It's just a shame for him that he couldn't get those other chances past the woodwork to get past Agbonlahor at the top of that scoring chart. What was key, Jamie, was something that you mentioned, the battle with Cher. But Ollie Watkins' willingness to drift to the left-hand side, as we see so often for him, which caused Newcastle real problems.
Yeah, absolutely. With the attacking areas, we said, I just asked, we've got great stats guys here, I just said, what was the attacking area, just out of interest, because it was obviously 3 of the 4 goals came from this. They were really getting into wonderful areas, and they had sort of John McGinn and obviously Ollie Watkins and Maatsen, who bringing him in was obviously a masterstroke, because he brought great energy to the game.
But for context, that is really unusual.
Incredible.
You don't see numbers like that.
No, absolutely. But you know that's great. When I said it was a masterclass by the manager, it absolutely was, because you've got to work, where can we get success today? And Ollie Watkins, straight away, as soon as you get a feeling against the player, and I'm sure you've had it, Matt, a couple of times, you play against the fullback, I've got him today. And other days it can flip vice versa. But Ollie knew from minute 1 that he could get hold of Fabian Schär, and he had him exactly where he wanted him, and he was playing with real fear today, Fabian, and we don't see Cher like that very often. And 1-0 was obviously a great example of it as well, because they started really well.
33 seconds, the goal.
Yep, and this is what I really like about this side, this Aston Villa side. When you've had, could it be a bit of a hangover? Absolutely not. But I look at this duel right here. We'll just play it a little bit. Between Jacob Murphy, right now, Jacob Murphy would normally be 70-30, that it's going to be his. But Yuri Tielemans has gone, right, I need to set the tempo in this game for minute 1. And that's what you always want from your midfield. He goes in, wins a great tackle. Then he gets ahead of Guimaraes, plays a ball down the line, and all of a sudden they're in business. There's Ollie Watkins, that was against Cher. Cher is already in trouble now. He sees that's a bit of a problem for me. And they work on the next ball. As he said before, Tonali then plays the ball. Who does it fall to? This guy. And every time he gets the ball, Yuri Tielemans has got this lovely habit of he knows where the ball is and his head is up. And he knows where everybody is on the pitch. Now, Ollie Watkins already knows that, as he mentioned himself, Tonali's going to play him onside. He's then going to come alive. Asensio is obviously going to make his run as well. And whether he played to Asensio or Ollie Watkins is almost irrelevant, but it's still the right pass. Now he's got his head up and he's got the time and he's always looking forward. Ollie takes that first touch. Yes, he gets a little bit of luck, as he said, but he certainly deserved it.
Definitely going in.
And we said before the game, he chases lost causes. He is a nightmare for any defender. Definitely going in, as we say. And as I mentioned, Yuri Tielemans. Okay?
Ollie said.
Ollie said, yeah. It's definitely his goal. But that pass is perfect. Great first touch, second touch. And they were off, and it was a really good start from Aston Villa.
I think Asensio's run makes the space for Watkins, and he takes the shot so early. It actually catches the defenders off guard. But Asensio's run, Fabi drops slightly a yard off of Watkins, and he chooses to take the shot so early, and they're not set.
Is that always a problem for a goalkeeper when you have a striker who can get a shot off? Early, as you say.
Yeah, I think Jermaine Defoe used to do it so well. I think one small touch and bang, and you're probably expecting him to take another touch there. As you can see, Fabi's going with Asensio and just gives him that yard that he needs, and you've got to give full credit to him. He played with real intent today. He was fantastic.
Yeah.
Real setback.
Do you know what he played with today? He played with anger.
Yeah.
I've been there when you've been left out and you're fuming with the manager and you want to knock his door down. But it's all part of the game. And you've got to channel that anger in the right way. And that's exactly what he did today.
Newcastle was struggling. That was 33 seconds. There were a couple of moments after that where they could have found themselves in even deeper trouble before they managed to get the equaliser. So we do have to say, actually, they've done really well to hang in the game and then get a foothold at 1-1.
Yeah, they stayed in the game. I think, as I said in half-time, I think they've got big game experience now. That showed in this moment. They knew it was a big game, and at 1-0, hung in there and managed to get back in the game with this. They worked tirelessly on regaining second balls, and a great ball from Barnsley and Fabi, a good finish. But from that moment, they'll be disappointed to then to go behind again. But
players here, you obviously got Joe Linton and you've got Dan Burn, and then Fabian Schär has found himself into a really good position. You've got John McGinn at the back post, and then you've got Maatsen. Now Konsa and Mings have to really follow Dan Burn, because Dan is obviously going to get attached to him. So I would say that that's probably a great position that Fabian Schär picks up, and you know that that's that mismatch at the back post if the delivery is right.
Yeah, for sure. That's worked on a second phase. Most teams will try and do it. As I said at half-time, players will get attracted to the ball, and second phase, can you hit the back post? And more often than not, you'll find a mismatch as you do there.
A good delivery as well.
Yeah, it's great delivery. Barnsley's so reliable.
And you see Maatsen there. It's difficult for him. You can't do anything about it. But your two dominant centre backs, Mings and Konsa, are just attracted to Dan Burn, which happens a lot. And then you just got to say to Maatsen, can you somehow get hold of him, stop him in any way you can? So Fabian Schär was involved in this game from minute one, from attacking perspective and obviously defensive one.
What was the thought process around the Villa game plan, do you think?
Well, when I watch a lot of games now, we all talk about philosophies in football and managers and coaches having their own style of play. But I look at football intelligence. I think to myself, right, when you're going to play against a side like Newcastle that are probably the best at pressing, why on earth are you going to play into your midfield two, that maybe Kamara or Yuri Tillemans in here, when you are going to get pressed? You can see that Joe Linton is locked onto Kamara. You can see there that there's not really a can play out. They've got Konsa, Barnes has gone on to Konsa, and Isak has gone on to Mings. Now, I think the smartest thing in the world is when you've got a three up front, if you're going to, rather than take that pressure and invite what happened to Crystal Palace in midweek, you've got that long ball here, and you've got a situation developing from minute one with Ollie Watkins and Schär. So they'd miss out this. There's no point. You're going to get caught. Let's be a little bit direct and let's work on that second ball. They get that first contact, and all of a sudden then you get runners. Asensio runs in. They're really unlucky here. They end up hitting the crossbar. That's not playing long ball football. That's what I would call this being really intelligent. Again, you get that first contact there. Another situation here. Now you could play into the midfield too. You could see there, and just highlight them. Joe Linton, he smells blood.
Matt, is this what Newcastle are waiting for and hoping for? The little slide ball into midfield.
All of Newcastle's success has been from pressing on the front foot, so organised in the press, and you have to give huge credit to Aston Villa because they just missed out the press. I think the first two goal kicks, they played short to maybe suck Newcastle in a little bit, and then after that they played long. And I think in the clip before, Jamie showed that Fabian was maybe asking Sandro to maybe drop in and screen for him, but on the occasion he didn't. And in between here, you can see in between here where Trips is reluctant to go such a big distance to jump man for man. And it happens. Yeah, it happens really fast, and Rodgers does great to get turned and find the pass. But Trips has got a real decision on his hands there. Do I leave Fabi? I think Fabi's on a booking at this point. Do I leave Fabi 1v1 with Watkins in that channel as we spoke about? Yeah,
and Tonali doesn't really want to go in that side either. And that's why I just think Aston Villa was so smart. And this was probably the one that encapsulates when they go 2-1 up, because a very similar sort of situation happens here. And also, when you've got a goalkeeper that can pass a ball like Kevin De Bruyne, it really does help.
Not quite, but not far off.
I mean, he is unbelievable with his delivery. So I just felt that that's what I call football intelligence. Why are you going to keep inviting pressure? If it's not on, I don't call it long ball football. I call it intelligent football, that every time they did that. And this one here, they play into the pocket. Now you've got Morgan Rodgers on the ball, who's incredibly difficult to stop, as we know. That one doesn't quite work out. But there was so many really good examples of that in this game.
We talk so much about centre forwards running their channel. Jamie and I spoke off air about Callum Wilson used to do it so well for Bournemouth, and Ollie Watkins runs a channel 3 or 4 times early in the game. He stretches the line. You see the setup in that goal kick situation there. Fabi's reluctant to go high, and they're slightly deep, and that gives the space for them to play that pass into midfield, into the deep six, or the pivot on his own there. And the goal comes from that, I believe.
Is that something, just before you move it on, Jamie, then we've seen Aston Villa almost change their approach during the game. They've had a little look, or maybe sucked them in, as you're saying, with the short one, and then decided to go longer from their goalkeeper. Is that something that then Newcastle could have adapted to on the sidelines and changed the way they defend those situations?
For me, Newcastle, I think it's so difficult to do that. You had so much success believing in the press. Out of possession, you can't flip and change it. Maybe at a time there was 2 duels that they lost, 2 duels, and of those duels they come goals from it. So it's so hard to say, do Newcastle now go into a low block from a goal kick? I don't think you'll ever get Newcastle sitting off a team to let them play from a goal kick. It's not the way. It's not what the fans want. It's not what the manager wants.
So 1-1 at half time, Jamie, and then it all changes.
And that example I just showed there, because again they're trying. Isak goes to Mings. Harvey Barnes comes in off the line there. You can see the 2 midfield players are locked on to Tielemans and Kamara. Now the one player that has found himself, Tonali's got a problem. Does he go with Asensio, or does he stay with Morgan Rogers? And then this develops. That's the only position really where he's got a bit of a dilemma. Kieran Trippier again. That's why that clip we showed a minute ago. So as it rolls on. Now you can see the goalkeepers. He's bringing in that press, and he's just going to clip. I mean, that pass there is just fantastic. It's going to land at Morgan Rogers' feet. Kieran Trippier doesn't know whether to stick or twist, does he?
Well, by the way, that's a purposeful movement, and they've planned that movement. He's gone so low to give Trips a real problem, and if Trips does go in there, he hits it even bigger and in here. And if Trips doesn't go, he plays to the pocket man.
And straight away, Asensio is going that way because he knows that I'm going to then take away Tonali, because that's going to create even more space for one of the most dangerous players in the Premier League at the moment. And that ball then falls into him. That Trippier is too late. That ball into Asensio, and now again. And this has developed here. I'm going to just take that back. As I mentioned, the duel between these two, which was fascinating all game, Cher and Watkins. Cher's been booked in the first half, so he doesn't want to get tight. Normally he's a very aggressive defender, is that fair to say? That he would have probably gone tight to his feet.
Man for man, yeah.
Jacob Murphy and Maatsen. Jacob has got to do better. He's been wonderful this season, but I think he just gets a little bit caught on his heels. He doesn't follow the overlap quick enough. It's a really good piece of play. A lovely, lovely finish to make it 2-1 for his team. And I just think that was such great football, intelligent football, and they've earned that right in the first half with the style of football they played.
He sniffs it so early there. You can see, Maatsen sniffs. You can see he sees the space, and he's on the move before anyone.
Yeah.
He knows what's coming. It's a great run.
Great football as well, isn't it? That'll be something they work on every single day in training. He told us he had the ump as well. That's football.
Then they make the substitutions as well.
Yes.
And you were thinking, would they get Marcus Rashford involved in the game? But then it goes 2-1, and it felt like they were actually substitutions to shore it up that Aston Villa made. But actually what happens is they go and score again.
Well, what they did, Matt and I were talking about this, that they've got so many great dribblers, like decisive players. You bring on Jacob Ramsey, who is such a good dribbler. He's very much like Morgan Rogers, and when he picks the ball up, he's so powerful with it, and he makes good decisions. He's found himself in this left-hand side position. When we saw that so often, didn't we, with Ollie Watkins? He just had so much space all game. They play the ball into him. He then turns. He's got too much space, and then Ramsey, who is what did you describe this, because that's exactly what he perfect.
He's just so direct as a fullback. You don't want that at that stage of the game as a fullback. You want him to play back, and fresh legs, comes on the pitch straight at Trips, fixes the defender, and really nice ball across the face of the goal.
What happens to Dan Burn here then?
I think he's unlucky. It comes through so many bodies. Burney's trying to get in to make the block, probably more than anything, and the striker misses it, and Burney's really unlucky.
Yeah, not much he could do about that one.
Youri Tielemans getting in the box. He's normally your defensive midfield player. The fluidity of the Aston Villa side was exceptional today. They had movement. They had people that were aggressive, wanted to score goals, and he epitomised that.
Including Onana off the bench.
Yeah, he had the ump as well, I reckon.
No, he's all right. He got a game the other night, so he's delighted.
But when you bring on players, that pass, I think it was Am I picking on him a bit today? I don't mean to. I'm sorry, because he's been brilliant this season. But he tries to play one into the front man. It gets caught out, and again, Tielemans. Like normally, I'm thinking, go on and shoot. He doesn't. But once that ball gets played into Morgan Rogers, just watch this close control here. Look, he takes it round Livramento.
Actually, a brilliant save.
Fantastic save. But again, they come alive. Morgan Rogers just lays it back, and a wonderful finish into the top corner of the net from Onana.
Rogers was special today. Some moments, real close control in the middle of the pitch. Fantastic performance.
You know, we talk about energy and playing 3 games in a week. Every time he's in the team, Morgan Rogers. In fact, Yuri Tielemans is the only outfield player to have started more Premier League games than Morgan Rogers